Let's see if FUT can bring the hurt to them. And it seems like they're going to start this out, looking to pressure right towards Boaster. He sat inside of B main, lots of players coming his way. They're actually taking their time and going for those swings, though. Drone up on A, maybe even going to drag some rotations, pull them back, and allow these players to sneak their way up.
Yeah, I think if we look at this map for FUT genuinely as if you can get even close to double digits, I think you've done a decent job. Like the last two teams to play them, Heretics and Giants, got 3 rounds apiece. Like they are the best team in the world at this map for a very good reason. So anything FUT can do is going to be huge, especially going onto a map like Lotus where they have looked sublime.
Well, Boaster's already seen the contact. He's not afraid to fire off some snake bites either, keep them back. But with that one on the floor, that's the last piece of utility he's got to keep them away. That orb now out of juice. So he's going to have to do it with his pistol if he wants to actually deny the plant. As you can see, not going to be possible, and a retake is now their best chance. So a very slow round for Fnatic to start this one off. A key detail on the way back in, they still have their wall on Chronicle. They've kept that late into the round, and in a pistol, it can be hard to deny that defuse. I see a late play from Mr. Fall, and that might come into it.
Yeah, they're delaying, at least for now. Swing coming back out as well. A couple of kills already going through, and the wall actually hasn't really helped them so much. Just trying to get round to it's going to be difficult. A couple of kills going back the other way, but the spray is wild on the back of the Frenzy. Alpha, though, already managing to come up with 3 kills. Just 1 man remaining. He needs to try and defend the spike, and that's exactly what he does. It's safe to say that when Alpha was missing, he was definitely missed, and it was rounds like this that made the difference.
We heard it about Leo earlier on, that he's just got that factor to get you out of tough situations. Well, Alpha certainly displaying that same trait here. 4 kills in quick succession as well.
Yeah.
Closing out that round, and sure, the wall helped out in forcing certain fights, but it looked like FUT had a great plan here. The delay working for Mr. Fallen's flank to come through and deal all that damage, and if it isn't...
Oh no, oh no. We'll see if that's going to be one of those unfortunate quotes that come back to bite them. But I can understand why Fnatic are so confident. I got to chat a little bit earlier with Sinan. We all know Sinan, the owner. And I was saying, well, surely 5 Turkish players is better than 1. And he was like, you know, we've got an imposter among them. So maybe. But Alpha's not been kind so far.
Oh no, he certainly hasn't. 4 kills in the first round, a good pace set for him. Boaster's same setup, further back this time. He doesn't want to get caught off by pistols up close and all the damage they can dish out. Instead, you're going to keep it on range in this. And then you saw Kiwi try to dash out of the site. He went straight into the snake bites. The Boaster's been dishing out. Mr. Fallen with the flank finally yielding. We saw the attempt in the pistol. This time, good for damage. Anything they can get from this point will be huge for Ada Captain. Just dropping a weapon, making it a little bit more costly. The timing is perfect. And now he can even grab a weapon himself. This gets a little bit scary. I mean, it's Durka and Boaster on the other side. A deadly duo to take down, and they've got spike control. So it's anything but easy, but it is possible.
He did well, but ultimately it is going to be the clean up. Now you have to bear in mind, a couple of rifles purchased in, few SMGs. It's not that same sort of purchase we've seen recently from a lot of squads where it's like 3 rifles and then there's going to be a huge purchase up into this next one. Saying that, it does still seem like Fnatic are going to go and try and get this round, leaving a few players actually very, very low in terms of their economy, but at the same time, in this Logitech G power-up round, you do have to feel like there's a good opportunity that Fnatic will still be able to take it away.
Yeah. With the weaponry they're bringing to the table for sure. Alpha 1 away from a lockdown. Nobody else really that close on their side. So that's the only early round or early game ultimate we're going to see coming here. If any, 3 players stacked up on B, making the read that FUT have liked to shift their way towards that side of the map in earlier stages. Not just yet. I mean, to be honest, FUT playing this slower default, I almost wonder if Fnatic will start to get a little overeager, start to push forward and take control, but just look at the position that they've left their A-Lurk in. Leo super passive. I think this is a round where they're more than happy to play the retake.
Yeah, Ada Captain already getting tagged low. They walk past each other. A gap found within, and that's going to give 2 kills for Maj early in this one. And it's a ruse. That was just a fake. That was the lurk. They're going to get an easy plant on towards this A site. And there is already a part of me that wonders, do Fnatic even continue going for this Boaster? I don't think he expected Kiwi to be anywhere near that deep. in terms of the site control. And this round is done. The remaining 2 players, they now have to hold on to those weapons so that Fnatic can actually have a buy in the next round.
Yeah, it's the Bulldogs and the pistol that went down, right? So if this is where it ends, I think you can still be pretty happy. But I find it hard to believe that FUT don't cast the net a little wider to try and remove these weapons from play. There's Kiwi already spraying away. Leo's going to know that there's a player to his left. But Kiwi's decided to go back towards A main. A little bit of a prod around Kitchen that isn't getting too much. Looks like they're going to get away with this.
Yeah, I do like what we've seen so far from FUT, though. Like, at least in the pistol round, slightly different plant. They're expecting a lot of early utility denial. Something that I think that Fnatic are fantastic at is the combinations you're going to get from the likes of Alpha, Leo, Boaster with all the utility they can have to try and deny plants. So they've already shown some slight adaptations, deeper plants to try and avoid where those util lineups would necessarily be. And then in this round, just Moj being that little bit more sneaky, like taking that map control, almost disrespecting Durka's positioning and getting them a couple of early fights. It's not something that necessarily I think will be easy to recreate, but ultimately 2-1, a good start from them, but now Durka has an op.
Oh wow, starting the round off with a lot of utility denying that AWP. They saw them taken in one of the earlier rounds. Key thing about this, we started it out, Captain popped the wall on B immediately. I think 13 seconds, 14 left in the buy round, in the buy phase. So for them putting that down certainly telegraphs to Boaster that he should be looking for any sort of early control. He doesn't see it, decides to fall back, and now a super passive B hold with a lot of players ready for A. FUT have been pretty conscious about controlling this map and understanding how Fnatic are going to be responding when they take control. I think a good example is how they push up, make a little bit of noise on A in one of those initial rounds, use their drone, and then they're looking to burst onto the B site for the pistol. Attempting something similar here with the noise made early. And again, burning those snake bites up from Boaster. This is, it was looking like it would be a ruse yet again, but I think this is almost just FUT's default.
Yeah, they threw out a dart as well on A, so it wouldn't have worked as a fake. It kept a couple of players around. Drone also being held late. This is a little bit scary for Moj, who's going to have to fall back. And the spike's nowhere near making it to the site. Instead, they've had Captain push up aggressively. Bear in mind, as Viper, this has huge risks about it. If he goes down, they lose all of his utility for any ideas in the post plant, but also his screen.
A good fight to start with Alpha gone. That wall blocking off a lot of vision. Oh, he's got a good spot to fight from, and that's a missed shot from Durka. Okay, he'll go down in the end, but the numbers, they sit with Fnatic. Leo grabbing that kill. HP damage done to Moj, but Kiwi's quick to pull it back. Chronicle left out, way out of position by that lockdown. And his fight back in looks almost impossible. I don't know that he's going to go for this.
No, I don't think there's a reason to. A 1 versus 3, spike planted. There was a lockdown just moments ago, so trying to even get back in at that stage was impossible. And again, just a good, well-worked round from FUT, playing this slow default, not really giving anything over to Durka in those early picks. And okay, there was a missed shot in there, but I think it was also just the surprise factor. Yeah. Like the fact that FUT, again, I mentioned it, they're not happy with just doing what everybody else is doing, where they go, okay, we're going to put the ball down, we're going to plant, and then we're going to play these post plants. They're like, okay, if we try that versus Fnatic, that's not going to work. They're going to retake versus us, or they're going to plant denial. So every round, we've seen a different wall. It was a deep one this time, and because of that, because of the positioning of Captain, they'd managed to lurk deep and catch a few players on the rotation. Good start from them, 2-2. And now we get to see what sort of response is there from Fnatic. It's not the greatest of buys.
So again, we come into the start of this round with a wall sitting down on the B site, put right at the start of the buy phase. Gonna use this in the majority of rounds. You have to think Durka's been red on this one. He got up close, they sprayed him down low, but he still gets the kill and dashes out. Wow, Fnatic sitting with the man advantage now, and that looked like it could have been a little bit more. Not even the tag coming out of that shot.
Continuing to put pressure on him, and Captain has been a deadly duo around this B site. Fnatic haven't really been able to get too much of a gauge of how they're playing this one. Mr. Farland has been selling a lot of information on this side of the map, even just shooting over a couple of shock darts. I don't think there's any intention of them going this way. It's just to keep players there. A lot of damage done still. Moj, low on HP, will get a heal, but Crack somehow just wallbang headshots Boaster.
Yeah, just hits that snake bite tracer, you know, why not? Certainly a costly piece of utility put down, or, I mean, not really a way you could predict that, though. The weapon removed was only the Marshal, still a rifle and a Bulldog to play with, the Phantom and the Bulldog. Good chance for Fnatic. They have to really work hard to wrestle these players out of position. Chronicle has a wall still to play with, could be a concern in the late round. Little bit of a tag, but Captain survived it, repositioned, and allowed Krax to pick up the kill. Really well handled, the double peek onto Durka, even a swing from Captain, tripling up on that fight. And you can see even that last fight, that was Maj that found the kill from mid. Every single duel they just took, there was a second guy ready to help out. Gorgeous play from FUT.
Yeah, they've been really good. I've been liking the sort of 1-2 punch of each of their plays. It never seems like, other than maybe the lurk through one round, which was just a timing farm by Captain, every other round has sort of been this, like, okay, even if you kill me, there's another player instantly ready to trade, be it from another angle, another portion, even baiting a player or two in on that sort of crossfire as well. Sure, that was a lower purchase from Fnatic, but now 3 well-structured rounds in a row from FUT. I want to see some sort of response.
I think the scary thing about this, you know, 3-2, it's very early on, but FUT are looking very good in their ideas. You know, we see teams come in and they win a couple of rounds here and there, and it's whatever. There's nothing to write home about, but they're putting down the same wall, start of every single round. They just have default utility that they have a ton of ideas of how they can flesh out and flex later on into the round. I mean, you're seeing Boaster, I think, have a bit of a problem on B. He's getting the read early that there's no one there, falling back, but FUT are accounting for that. It looks like they're very familiar with Fnatic's game plan and how they like to control it. I think this is where you really need to open that strat book and go to the off-brand comp, the B play, whatever your secondary setup is.
But they haven't used Durka go kill yet.
They haven't tried
That's
it. That's
normally on page 1. I feel like that strat's got to be coming soon.
Maybe they started too deep into the strat book. Go back to page 1.
He's got a Blade Storm as well, so I feel like it's definitely the height of that sort of strat.
Yeah, here we go.
I will say as well, FUT have already matched Heretics and Giants in the amount of rounds they managed to get. So, as said, like, a competitive game of Icebox is actually a very good sign for FUT. If they somehow manage to win it,
it would suck that it was this late. Yeah, it would suck that it was this late anyways, but look at this guy go. Captain's been throwing out a lot of these late plays. This time, though, he's caught by the alarm bot.
I think he went just to destroy it. I think that was his only goal in this round, was just destroy the alarm bot, and it instantly pulls a rotation away. Like, you can see that Leo's now having to spot into mid because of that, and that gives more A-site space for the remaining players to push in. They are just basically pushing and pulling Fnatic right now. That doesn't happen.
They're controlling them. They are controlling them, and you do not see that. Even if there's a guy pushed up on A, he's then forced forward and going to end up getting deleted. Onyx Fury used, it's actually going to get the kill here. He sacrificed his life, he knew what he was doing, and another tag as well. The res comes in, so that damage mostly mitigated.
Yeah, they still have a lockdown though. Fnatic coming in with a fair amount of retake ults. And already, you're going to see a Hunter's Fury on the other side. Main goal to get rid of that lockdown and save them within the Viper's Pit. And that's exactly what it's done. They can now keep these aggressive positions. You can see that Shorty pulled out. They know that it's one of the better weapons for these close-range battles, and they've actually killed off that pit as well, giving them a chance. Krax goes back for more, though. A nasty surprise, and Kiwi with a double, not quite the triple, but again, there's an instant trade from FUT. 4 rounds now in a row, and the Turkish side are looking fantastic.
I love the idea, the Shorty out to take the Viper, and it's literally, you know you're not going to get the kill, more than likely, but you're going to get the tag, and your teammate is finding the kill afterwards. A good idea from Fnatic, but again, the execution too good from FUT. There are no gaps here. Even Mr. Fallen, he understands he has to give up his life to get that plant. Immediately he's rezzed back up, and then he gave his life. That Nano Swarm was going to take him down, but it was worthwhile, and traded out again by Kiwi, able to find so much more from the corner. I'm loving every round I'm seeing here. This doesn't feel lucky. It doesn't feel like a one-off. This feels like a problem Fnatic have to solve.
Yeah, and they're not really in the right position to do it this round. As said, Durka go kill hasn't really happened just yet. It seems like he's not really been in the right place at the right time. I think that's the one thing that I haven't seen so much, is they've managed to avoid him for the most part, which isn't going to last forever. Alpha.
Oh, that time.
It's actually going to be Boaster pushing up, but no. I've realized that Alpha's just everywhere at the moment.
Well, for FUT, they've got the kill on B. They found the aggression out of Boaster, who's often being the only player there. Last round we did see Durka doubling down with him, but I'm not sure FUT spotted that. They'll decide to redirect this over towards the A site, bring it in for the push, but looks like Fnatic have a decent idea of this. Again, the weaponry not the best when it comes to actually taking these fights. Still able to take down Mr. Fallen on the way through. Alpha are going to attempt more. He's dangerous with this Guardian. Already 2 kills. Shock Dart's going to weaken him up a little more. Very low Kiwi, could have went down. They just weren't placed in the right spot. Blade Storm from Durka. Dash activated. He's about to make the play. There's one already. Updraft as he's in for more. Dash still online to save him. He's low on knives, but the damage should be done. Crack's low. They just need the trade on the way through, and Durka doesn't even. Takes him down the first time, and that's going to be a third for Fnatic.
Yeah, again, it's one of those rounds that you kind of just look at it and go, okay, 2 Guardian headshots coming off the back of Alpha, and then a couple of kills with the Blade Storm. It's something that not many teams can pull off, but they did manage to, I guess, make the push a little bit more disjointed. Some decent utility thrown out. I think there was a dart put in by Leo that basically pinged the whole team. That's just absurd. Like, that first shot is just ridiculous.
I really like Durka's pacing as well on the Blade Storm. It feels almost like he feels invulnerable at times with how patient he is in firing them out. He taps it, he doesn't hold left click. And I think that's, well, normally he's hitting the head maybe because of that, but he's often left alive for so long in those positions. And I think just because of his positioning being so good, people are caught off by him, having to adjust. Drone early used. Gonna get them up close at least.
This is a setup switch. Like, Boaster's been playing B for the majority of rounds, but with Viper's Pit, it seems like he might just be sticking around on that A site, even if it's just to remove deep control of the site if it's necessary. And then that's put up Durka alongside Chronicle on the other side of the map. And Durka can play relatively aggressive here because they have that res available. Even if he falls back and gets caught, it's fine. Chronicle can bring him right back to life.
Now, they spotted the Boaster isn't playing B here, and they've popped out a recon, which is obviously going to put that little bit of pressure on the B players. The reality is, I feel like they were trying to push and pull them a little, but Fnatic have still maintained their position, and now Viper's Pits come into play. Great coverage on the site with that pit, and we know Boaster still got 2 snake bites in the back pocket. The lockdown, yeah, it's going to get them some good space. Boaster, 3 seconds. He's got to go. He's going to stay inside.
No, he's going to stay.
He's staying, but the only problem I see here is if Kiwi decides to go absolutely nuts, and in the end, yeah, the pit's gone anyways, unless he stood inside it and Kiwi would have just walked up on him.
Yeah, they've dealt with that well. I think the plan was to try and initially stop them. Instead, this retake going to be that little bit harder. Kiwi tagged up. Operator close, slow, thrown in again. Crack's just pushing through it. The man has absolutely no fear. And now Mr. Fallen on a deep luck. The problem is even spotting him is going to cause issue. Cracks has somehow found another one, and now they're stuck. Even escaping here is going to be difficult.
Really well handled. Again, I'm just looking at the fact I'm pretty sure that alarm bot was sat down in mid. I don't know if Mr. Fallen, I missed it in the chaos on site, whether he destroyed it because he was certainly aware of it and playing on the edge, but he went back around anyways to come through kitchen. And you can see that those players, you have 2 guys who are looking at their back. Now, Mr. Fallen goes out, it doesn't matter now, but if he had went out 20 seconds earlier and died, then these players can refocus and all look forward and all look to retake. Instead, you have 2 players who are kind of thinking, hey guys, are we ready to go? And they're way back in spawn, busy with their own job. At that point, you have to call it off. You have to play for the retake, or for the next round, rather, for the save.
It's very interesting, because I think, again, if you start a game of Icebox against Fnatic and I say, okay, one of these teams is going to win the pistol and then have 1 buy-round win after 8 rounds. Who is it? I don't think you're saying Fnatic.
I would bet all attackers on that one. I'd be feeling pretty comfortable, but especially with the context of FUT coming in and playing the Fnatic comp. I mean, it's called that for a reason. I think when you look at Fnatic right now, they are almost without a doubt the best team at this map and at running this in particular. It feels like if you pull out the mirror matchup, you are doomed to fail. Most teams are just doomed to fail from the get-go, regardless of what their idea is. This sort of display is unbelievable for FUT, and they're only getting started.
Well, you look at the last 2 teams to play them. Giants, when they got smashed, tried to play a Sageless comp with the KO thrown into the mix, and they've not tried to run that any other time. Maybe because it failed miserably, or maybe because they think that they can beat other teams with a normal comp. Then you look at Heretics, they were playing the Harbor comp that we've seen them run and had to switch the agents a few times. It hasn't worked versus other teams as well, but that's the sort of case. I'm not really mad at those teams for trying to run new and different sort of things, because most of the time if you try and beat Fnatic at their own game, you lose. Right now, FUT are doing something incredibly impressive, pushing and pulling them all over the map. Krax has had some super high impact kills, just in very risky situations, but with the way the rest of the team has been playing, I think it's fine.
Here we go. This is what Adacaptain was looking for before, the round where they don't have the alarm bot there, the round that he can sneak his way up. We saw him before go up, destroy it, fall immediately back, but now he's going to use that position to sneak his way up into them. They think they'd be scared of the alarm bot. Why would they try it? They've seen the setup again and again, but he felt out that space, and it's worked well to start with, but Fnatic have an immediate response. 2 quick kills, and an AWP still standing, Durka on site. They baited him out at least, but Leo's back into the fight, further extending their advantage.
Kiwis managed to find one back. Durka drops him a second later, and Mr. Farland almost manages to even things up. Cracks again though. Mr. Impact so far is going to find another. Alpha coming in from behind. This one is free. And now Mr. Farland pinged up is all that remains. A 1v3 completely surrounded. And Fnatic break back onto the scoreboard. It almost looked like it was going to fall apart again with Adacaptain's initial position, but a quick reaction. Durka stepping up with the operator. And well, the difference now down to just 1.
Good recovery by Fnatic later into it, and when you look at what they used up there, yeah, just the res for Chronicle, I think they can be very happy with that. Seemed like a round that they were decently in control of even after the res, and it started out with Adacaptain having his most successful early round flank so far. So I think this is somewhere that a gap was exploited, and they still managed to, without using too many safety nets, come out on top in. Certainly a return to form for Fnatic for now.
Yeah, lockdown available as well for Alpha, so this might change how they play the map. Although saying that, he's now been more dedicated to B. I think it is just because of his utility initially being destroyed. They're trying to switch things up a little bit. Dirk are also being set up early in the round to try and cause havoc over towards this deep A position. It's something they should expect, and maybe a little bit lucky to get away with your head.
And the same sort of setup from Adacaptain, orb down on mid, but this time he doesn't go through it. He doesn't look for the alarm bot, he doesn't look for the player. Instead, he's actually waiting for a punish play, for someone to come down through tube to try and sneak behind him or sneak down through a middle. Either way, he would catch that aggression. But it hasn't come in. Fnatic's responses seem to be, they're not looking to disrupt the attacker side. They're looking to sit back and have you run into their setup. For now, at least, I think FUT are realizing that that's the game we're playing. They're not going to be able to bait anything out of this defensive side. Instead, they're going to have to go running into it and try to break them on the sites.
Yeah, alarm bot there as well. You can see the poison orb still sat, so just trying to cause them issues. Shock darts as well. This is something we know. And a late lurk coming out from Mr. Farland. He's so far behind everyone else. This is the utility stack that you want to try and avoid. And well, avoiding the lockdown might be a more pressing issue. I don't know if they're going to get away from this. In fact, they're definitely not. 2 players have been detained. If this is pressured, this is a problem. They've run out of time completely with the spike down on the ground, and this round completely crumbles for FUT. This is such a weird scenario to see Mr. Farland basically saving in the other team's spawn.
It makes sense in what he was going for. If they get sight, they get the plant. You know, he is in a pretty unexpected flanking position, but, well, that didn't happen. And you have to put it down to, again, some fantastic snake bites from Boaster. He has sat there firing them away from way back, and that's what led to this death. I did see the snake bite, didn't look to be on it, but look, it was just barely touching the shoelace. That's all that was needed.
But the other thing as well is you've got none of the utility was placed. Other than the poison orb,
it's fired
everything is being thrown. So it's like you see like FUT come in and they go, oh yeah, let's destroy all of the nanoswarms. Sorry, Burrow, none of them are there.
30 HP off rip. Durka almost lost his life on that pick. A near early punish.
This is
He's
bold from
broken.
Leo.
Okay, look, they've seen 2 players now. They know 2 pushed up. They had their drone go through. It was fired off on from afar, and now they've dropped Chronicle. If they decided, like a lot of teams would, to all in on A right now, it could be huge. Instead, though, they're rotating, and I think that will have been heard. Those steps as they faded away from Leo. The question is, was it a bait, or are they actually intending to take this towards the B site? And as we can see, it is the latter. They're making their way in towards the very light side of the map, but it's appeared to be a little bit more open than it was in the past. Let's see if they'll be able to punish on the Fnatic side as the plan's attempted on B.
I think they're hopeful that maybe they can try and avoid some of the utility.
Oh, wow.
As said, they've been quite good at adapting their plants because of where all this util comes through. Playing much deeper this time out, but they're going to get caught by Durka. Trying to trade him, they fail. 2 kills up for the Vin. And while they can't take the control they wanted, look at where they planted for. They're now stuck in the mud. They were hoping to take that defender spawn, and because of this, it becomes very awkward.
Good shot onto Boaster at least, though. Look, this might make it a little easier. You're looking at Durka down to 20, Alpha Yer on 89 as well, but he's dropped out of Captain. And Nano Swarm, a big danger. He has to updraft, and he'll still get more! He was so low, but Durka now again stuck in the corner, being held, and he gets more! Are you kidding? 4 kills for Durka, 6 rounds for Fnatic. Unrelenting on this comeback.
Mini activated the strat.
That's the one.
It's like, Durka, I've not seen enough cheese so far this game. Could you like updraft, land on the ground right next to a Nano Swarm and shoot someone with an up? And he's like, okay, boss, got this, no problem. For me, it's the 3rd one. Alpha does well on the cross, but this, just done it. Like, if you're Mr. Fallen, you've just got to be mad. It's not easy to track him through that, but a single bullet would have basically changed the round. And again, I think a lot of that just comes down to wanting to take that control. I don't mind the idea from FUT, but they end up pushing into Durka, and unfortunately that's never a good idea.
Okay, here we go. Durka's going pushing into them again, though that drone's coming around causing problems. Don't have the same setup as before with Leo up close. Instead, they just have Durka firing off an answer to Kiwi right away. And FUT again, left on the back foot. Look, Fnatic, they started this out slow. FUT managed to get one hell of a lead, but now it's coming right back to bite them. Double op setup here for Fnatic. Both ops finding opening duels. And good luck with getting this plant down. At least they've got the res. That's going to get their Viper wall back into it. Little easier now.
Yeah, they've still got to try and find a gap. And while Moj, he got that aggressive position again, but it does seem like from the early rounds at least, Fnatic are now much more aware. From such a strong position. There we go, cracks again. Mr. Impact himself just finding kills that you never feel like he should be landing. Maybe giving them a little bit of a chance in this scenario.
Oh, that's a good snake bite, but no one's really there to swing, and a slow lands right after. Boaster was caught up. He was vulnerable on that swing, still manages 1 kill and thinning out the herd. That's all they need.
Oh, no.
FUT in a terrible position here, that defuse not being held. The Cracks just had too many bodies to take down. 7 rounds at the half. And I gotta say, you know, this last quarter has felt a lot more like the Fnatic Icebox that we were expecting to see starting it out. FUT had some fantastic ideas, but eventually Fnatic found that comfort ground to fight from.
Well, yeah, it's the adaptations. Again, you look at the initial setup, a lot of it was based on Boaster holding onto that B site. Wasn't really working out, so they switched up with Big Man Alpha, yeah, taking a lot of that control, moving his alarm bot deeper into that B site because it was being destroyed every round. It was holding literally no value. And with the way he was playing, 17 and 5 on the scoreboard, he's not a bad man to be able to move into position and start to shut these plays down. The main thing that's a bit worrying for me is like you're looking at an early scoreline, was it 5-2, something like that? It was a decent position to be in. The problem is you've now gone back 7-5. Like, I think in the half, like at the beginning, maybe FUT would have taken this sort of scoreline because of the way the Fnatic plays. I'm going to be intrigued to see if they can still do it on the defense. If they can play versus a team that have basically mastered both sides of this map, just because you've managed to make it close on one does not mean you're lost on the other.
Well, here's the thing, right? We were 5-3, now we're 5-7, and the reality is for Fnatic, right, they had a slow start on a map that they're incredibly comfortable on. You can read into that whatever way you want, but I'll say that now that FUT are on the defense, they're the ones that are going to have to be making those adaptations with a composition that, well, Fnatic are a little bit more intimately familiar with than they are. This is somewhere that I think brings the biggest challenge. You can make a comp you're not too familiar with, or even on a map that your opponent's very comfortable with, you can make the attack side look workable. But, and it's because it's if you've surprised them, you put them on the back foot. When they get to define the pace of the game, that's where you find a whole lot more ideas coming at you than you're ready for.
Yeah, and I almost think that's what FUT need to do, is try and not allow them to define the pace of the game. Like, take some of that control away from them. We know that Kiwi has it in his back pocket to take over different parts of the map. Of course, well, one of the things we always credit Fnatic for is their adaptiveness, like changing to what the tide is showing almost with the other team. So I'm curious to see if we're going to see any of that aggression, any of that map control taken away, or if they're going to try and play back on the site. And if they do, that's where I think they lose. I don't think you can do that versus Fnatic. The problem is there's not a lot you can do.
Well, that's it. At least from what we've seen so
Pick your
far,
poison.
There's never really a lot that teams can do. They haven't been able to. We've seen some of the best try it, and they just can't. And I'd almost look at the Giants game and think, like, we've had teams counter-pick comps just to beat Fnatic, where they have some ideas like maybe this can break that, and it never can. But we're about to dive back in after the halftime, and FUT, well, they're about to be tested. 4 players early on towards B. Recon's gone up and above, but the players, well, they're coming right into their face to take this fight. And look, it's Fnatic coming ahead yet again. Kiwi forced back, and the advantage sits with the attackers. The early B crunch not working, and they've noted that they saw a lot of bodies there. Time to shift back towards A, where only one man waits.
Well, that's the thing. This was the risk. A 4-man B push in a pistol round just to try and catch them. Probably hoping to catch them in the back, not that they're all waiting for you outside the B side. That was definitely a bit of an obscure setup from Fnatic themselves. Now, just watching that flank, Alpha has been crisp. 18 and 5, slowly being pressured on. Kiwi will at least get that kill, but they have so much left to do.
Kiwi's been heard, yeah. They know from the kill that he's around here. They know he's still in this position, and good luck to you up against Leo. Maj, the last man standing, nothing to obscure vision. There's no way that spike was getting defused. Fnatic have claimed the pistol, their second pistol, if I'm not mistaken. Remember, that first half, all in all, when you look back and Fnatic won the pistol, you have to say it was very good from FUT.
Yeah.
Let's see how
I think it's just the fact that the last 4 rounds look like, okay, this is where they've got back into their rhythm.
Back on track,
into
literally.
Yeah, the swing of things. Maybe coming in a little bit cold after having a week off and, well, having a quite bad cold.
Quite a bad cold indeed, yes.
But it's one of those things where they now look back to their old selves, and it's going to be up to FUT to show us that, okay, this wasn't a blip on Fnatic's radar, and they have got more to show on this map in particular. Already, though, Darker looking to pad those stats. He's got Leo and Chronicle alongside him. Oh, it looked like maybe that was going to be a freebie, but the Classic has dealt the final blow. Maj, good luck, my friend.
Well, he's got the Classic, and there's one.
Hey, you know what?
Leo at least. Yeah, I'll
better
take
than
it.
0.
It is. Statistically, I agree. Fnatic in the end, 9-5, and for a map that was looking a little bit uncomfortable, certainly a very good recovery from them. 6 in a row now.
Yeah, this was what, 5 and 2?
5 and 3. 5 and 3.
Oh God. Wow.
It's been quite a fight back in.
Yeah, again, this is where you have a slightly better purchase coming through, but you see that Fnatic have still got rifles across the board. Chronicle not far away from getting himself a res. Leo close to a Hunter's Fury as well. And as we know, the attack side is pretty decent for fighting for some early orb control. Saying that, Kiwi is instantly pushed up on that A side of the map, taking that control away. It is mainly just a lurk from Alpha, who, again, I don't think that's the man you want to be facing off against in the server right now, but it does allow for a gamble rotation already. Mr. Farlin is going to be sat on that B side with an extra teammate.
We saw how much of a delay potential comes into play when Boaster was over on this side of the map, and sure, he was pushed back into pretty uncomfortable positions a lot of the time, but those snake bites were still deadly coming from him. Although we're watching him right now line up another, and you have to wonder what his idea is it's fired up and over, it's going to contain these players, maybe push them forward, or make those spams a little easier. Either way, not much to be found in the back of it as they meet some Viper utility of the defenders. And we pump the brakes on this round.
Yeah, still got a decent amount of time to play with, but FUT have got this correct in terms of their rotations. Nobody pushing up for that flank, so Alpha's got that held down. This Dart could do a lot if it manages to pick someone up, but the deep wall, this needs to be broken if they're going to have any chance of denying that plant. Instead, the swing, it's actually cracks again. Comes up with a high-impact double, gonna get traded out by Leo, but now the time starts to become an issue. Kiwi given a chance, and the luck of Alpha finally springs into action, and Mr. Farlin is the only man to be found, and he falls as well. 10-5. It's not looking good for FUT, as now they're going to have to be back on an eco, and Fnatic speeding their way towards the finish line.
Look, I think Alpha Year might have taken it a bit personally, right? That they thought he was an agent on the inside, and he's proven that no, his allegiances stand with the Fnatic flag.
He's going a double agent, so I double their kills, right? Yeah.
21 kills and 6 deaths right now. He's on fire. And I'll even note that at the end, when he kills Maj was looking at him. Maj was ready for that flank up through mid. He was in his head. But still, Alpha was able to find that and another afterwards. You know, his flanks are being read. They're ready for them. They're watching him. Still coming out on top for 2. That's just the kind of game he's been having so far. And when you're unstoppable like that, when the momentum is rolling, you're snowballing, there's nothing that you can't do. Slow orb up top, and well, it's not going to do too much for him. But these players on yellow are being assaulted. All of that utility coming in to get him. Good night and sweet dreams. The flank of Alpha, he's now on the A side, ready to plant.
Guys, A's clear. Well, Mr. Farlin again. He's had a bit of a rough day at the office. It's always going to be difficult calling versus Fnatic. He's at least caught Alpha, yeah. Got himself a rifle, no shields to play with, and 3 on the other side. A Hunter's Fury, I doubt they're going to need it, but Leo's got it anyway. Again, it almost comes down to damage. They've got enough to buy in the next round anyway, so let's see what Mr. Farlin can do.
No pulse out of the recon, so that's going to pretty much destroy any hope of the information of the quick kills. And in the end, oh, he even gets pinged up. They know exactly where he is. That was the expected outcome. 11 rounds now for Fnatic. They are getting towards the home stretch of this map. FUT not at the end of their tether just yet, but you can see those credits are spilling out of the bank just to afford this potentially last strong buy like this, even an operator through on Kiwi. And it's plays like this, you know, they only have pistols, but they try to stack up, they try to play the numbers, and the caution there from Fnatic on the way through. They're still going to commit everything to clearing out those ratty angles just to make sure they don't get overwhelmed.
Well, a streak of 8 rounds in a row. It feels like a lifetime ago that this map looked competitive. We were singing the praises of FUT and how they were able to take it to Fnatic. Already, Hunter's Fury utilized almost just as an attempt to disperse some of these players. They've forced them all back into the corners as Durka takes the space. Shock darts will at least slow them down a little bit, but not by much.
Yeah, look, once those bounces are coming from in front of you, it's rare a player is going to just watch it come towards them like a frisbee in the park. You're going to move out of the way pretty quickly. Slows them down, disrupts the rhythm, but not too much done past that. I think that Hunter's Fury did about as much damage to Durka as it did to FUT, but again, like you said, it is often just about clearing out those positions. A little bit of crowd control. Durka being spammed at up top, but he has an angle that he wants to fight on, and Mr. Fallen, well, he made the mistake of giving him that challenge. The plant coming in, but look, there's 2 players up close ready to take that down, and they've indeed dropped Alpha right away. Now they've got to compete. That spike's on the floor, and utilities coming, firing through. Boaster finding next to nothing. Someone needs to step it up, and there you go. Leo and Durka making this doable yet again. Rez popped in to keep the numbers advantage, and it extends even further. Just Kiwi left now. Blade Storm up, 1 found, but nothing more. 12 for Fnatic, and FUT's economy's in the dumpster.
Yeah, we've seen a fair bit of clay pigeon shooting today, people being taken out of the air. Alpha just picks off that last kill. I think Durka's been trying to catch him over the last few rounds, but he definitely seems like he's too far gone at this point. 9 rounds in a row for Fnatic. The streak continues, and Well, it almost feels desperate at this point for FUT. I think that's the thing. We came into this series, we knew that either they'll have to play their permaban or Fracture versus Fnatic, who are a fantastic Fracture team, or they'd have to play Icebox. They picked the lesser of evils, and they're losing the map. I don't think anybody expected that. This is the first of the series. Lotus, I think, is a much more, I don't even want to say level playing field. In terms of results, it favors FUT. More so does this round, at least for now. Kiwi has taken out one. The Hunter's Fury, not quite going to catch Chronicle. Now, he doesn't have his res available, so not going to be bringing back Durka in this round, but they do have a lockdown.
At least they've managed to strip his shields off him as well, a small consolation. It could come into play later on. 7 in a row, a big request out of FUT. One that's doable, and look, they had a strong start here, a decent foothold to begin, but they've certainly slipped up. Lost their grip as time's gone on, and it looks like it's getting worse now. Mr. Fallen in with a lifeline kill for the team. He's gone out for more, and he's got it as well. That's what they needed. Keeping them alive on this defensive side. They will still play the retake.
Yeah, he's given them some hope. This round was looking bleak, but a hero play has given them an opportunity. That's going to be the main focus of this one, and obviously starting out on that defensive side, I think the main thing you have to look at for FUT is, okay, can they get a foothold? Can they get themselves in a position where they have, okay, 5, 6 rounds or a buffer to play with?
While starting this off, it looks like Mound is under heavy contention. Fnatic on the attack side, take note of the compositional differences we heard from on the desk, and it's Neon, Kiwi that's going to be sliding after them, making the big difference. Quite speedy on these pushes. And they've managed to isolate Boaster here. He's now trapped in towards B, but do they know that? Well, they're certainly clearing the angle. He'll get the first kill. 18 HP left, but here comes help. Little too late, unfortunately, as they round the corner. Puts them in an awkward position with trades going back into FUT's favor, but look at the control from Fnatic. They managed to sneak their way into the spawn, and they are
They're going to go C in the end anyway. That's brilliant. After like basically battling for C earlier, not managing to win it, and then running all the way back. And now it's going to be basically a reverse site take. Them coming in for defender's spawn, and then the defenders coming in from attacker's spawn. It's so weird.
And the plant's a little further back as well, right? Because they've got the spawn control. Oh, Kiwi was spotted. The orb just about blocking vision in time. It is, of course, their wall, or their orb, excuse me, but the repositioning from Kiwi, very quick. He was spotted in a mound just a second ago. They know there's 2 players there. They might almost look to fight elsewhere to isolate that other guy who could be coming alone. Instead, they'll find there's 2 players. Well, they've already dropped 2 of them. Out of captain, the last alive, so far unaccounted for, but they've got a pretty good idea on where he might be moving in from. They can't even swap his weapon before he's taken down. A 3K from Chronicle, with Fnatic picking up the pistol.
Yeah, 8 kills in the last 2 rounds. I'm including the last
Yeah,
map.
no, the ace, yeah. I put, well, I was going to say 2 and 2. I put 5 and 3 together, you know. I was proud of myself for that.
This is the thing with Fnatic that they were so good at versus Liquid, is they were very good at controlling the aggression. And that's the problem with these sort of Neon comps, is there's not a lot you can do with Neon staying passive and being defensive. So they set up a comp for Liquid that basically allows them to sit back, even buy Odins at times, and just spam that initial control. Now that comp also works when they face off against what FUT are running, because it's a very similar comp. So that's going to be the most difficult thing for them on this defensive side, is they want to get aggressive, they want to take map control, and Fnatic are very, very prepared for that.
Well, even just look at this round here. Not even as passive as you might expect, but 2 players on the corner ready to fight. And there's going to be 3 swinging around, 4 in fact, any moment now. Good damage all in all. Like, you don't expect 2 kills out of the Classic there. He ain't getting any more than 2 though.
No, and both weapons are going to be retrieved in the end, so it's not the problematic round you might have expected for Fnatic. They're likely going to invest onto the couple of players that had a bit of extra cash as well, so this will be a very strong buy coming back for them in the next round. And that's the thing. As said, Fnatic, they're going to want to play a lot of these rounds passive. In fact, I think it was getting down to sort of the 40, 50 second mark where they would start to actually pressure towards Rubble and actually use their utility that they have a mountain of, as it was said by Lothar on the desk, to clear that control. So the first minute of the round, you might see Fnatic doing very little. Not this time, though.
No, not at all. A very quick take round where they don't want FUT to have that same level of control and comfort to begin. FUT will be rotating. They only had 2 players to start on A, but Kiwi's already made his way from the C side through the spawn and onto site to help out. Thing is, Fnatic playing a little bit of that push and pull. There is a lot of presence on A, but they are seeking out B or C aggression, and they're about to run into some. Captain found himself in quite an aggressive spot. They didn't swing to punish, though. I thought that would be the fight immediately, but they were just checking if anybody'd come up this far.
That's the cool thing about running a Fade. Like, one of the main nerfs that Faders have is the distance of the Prowlers. It's really not as effective as clearing, like, mass amounts of size. They're running. But that's not what Fnatic are using it for. They're going, okay, if you push Mound or if you push Rubble, I can clear that with a single Prowler. So you can't do that anymore. And as you saw, wow, okay. It's more difficult to clear that, though.
A little bit, yeah. The Toxin Wall hadn't quite went up just yet. So 1 man down as they look to make their way in towards the site. 30 seconds as well, so time now starting to be a bit of an issue. And they'll look to bring it to B. They've broken open that single wall. And they're blast packing through. Maj pushed off the angle by this player who's already on site. And it looks like the plant is coming through. Undeniable for the FUT side, but they still hold on to that advantage to hopefully fight their way back into the round.
And they don't have a lot of utility to play with. Most of it is Viper util, which is definitely not ideal for a retake. You want to have some flashes or something. Nice work from Boaster, managing to trade this back into a 2v2 now with Moj finding 1 more kill. Still sat in that close plant. Gravwell being called for by Leo, who's just waiting on the angle. He still has a seize and a reveal if he needs it.
Oh, the reveal goes a little deeper. Headshot found, but no kill. That's 2 guns still on the angle. Boaster in trouble. He needs to go huge and can't this time. FUT just about grabbing that 3rd round. And it came close. 10 HP left on Kiwi. That could have been a completely different 1v2.
Yeah, especially with an initial 2-man advantage, that got very, very scary indeed. And I do think that with the amount of util that was left, I was kind of expecting that that would go the way of Fnatic. Good work, though, from Moj, just basically defending his teammate. That definitely, if he went down there, I think the time was gone for them to stick that entire defuse. So a little bit close for comfort. Of course, that was the bonus round now. So into the Logitech G power-up round. Both teams going to be having rifles, and actually the slightly worse buy is on FUT.
Well, that's the thing, you know, with how close the previous round came and how Fnatic were able to slow it down and play the control, you might forget that that was almost their bonus, right? Like because of the way they play it, they still have a whole lot of firepower coming into that round. Allows them to compete, but FUT then move into this with all their credits on the line. Good early half from Fnatic to set that up, but now it's time to capitalize. Orb's going to be picked up to start this round, or at least baited at.
Yeah.
They're trying to pull a fight out of somebody, or maybe just to pull the rotations from the other side because they don't see any aggression. And really, this just feels like they're figuring out how FUT respond on this map when they do certain things.
I like the way that if you watch Chronicle and his Poison Orb, it's constantly being repositioned as they take further control. Like, he's just going to place it down. Okay, we need that control now. And the push from Captain has started to come through. Clearly calling the bluff, but it's whether he goes any further or even just having that information is enough to gamble rotations across the side of the map.
It's the whole game plan for this round, man. You fake out C at the start. Hopefully they push A. You saw how long they took to clear all of those angles around the broken wall. Now they're going to start to move to the B side, but this is where Boaster needs to be careful. They know that that push didn't come through on C earlier. There was no presence. They might think it was passive play, and instead they need to be very cautious about this flank. Captain has the timing perfectly. Boaster turns to check. He's jumped! We saw that just the other day.
No.
A mistimed mouse wheel scroll, and that's what it'll get you. Nade is dangerous too. That's isolating Kiwi. It's gonna do damage. Make him a little squishier on the way through. Flashes in, doesn't do much. They're lined up, but kills are going FUT's way. They're fighting right back into it. Time could start to be an issue. They've got a lot of players to deal with. Still in a great position from Alpha. He is on fire with 4. Fnatic not letting go of that one.
I don't want to see it again. And you know what I mean, production. I want to see the 4K from Alpha. That was a nice little thing. Yeah, no, this is the bit I didn't want to see again. You know, the bit that you've just shown. Thanks for that one. Yeah, that's horrible. Because that's a spot as well. You get rid of Boaster. The whole round turns into
Completely
panic as
different.
well because everybody's having to look on that flank, and you can see that frustration from Adacaptain. He played everything perfectly up until the very last second, and wow.
That's it, man. I love this.
Here we
Chronicle.
go again.
Chronicle. You're becoming a favorite of mine day by day. It's fun to see, even when he's trying it. But it's even more fun to see succeed. And this is the perfect site for it. Walls made out of paper. As he looks to make his way through, you can spam to clear out Summit Tree, push these players back, and let Durka take the fight on the side. 2 already, make that 3. Showstopper most certainly online at this point, as Chronicle just holds down the heavy MG covering fire, making sure nobody steps foot back through that connector. I mean, Foot only had pistols in this round here, but they are given no chance. Now, for Adacaptain and Maj, it might be worth going and dying to a player here. Grab that orb. 3 of your opponents already have ults as well. So you're not really going to be giving them that much, and what are you worried about? Boaster grabbing a Cosmic Divide. I think we're pretty comfortable that the lockdown and the Viper's Pit stands to gain a lot more.
Yeah, it's one of the only situations where I can say it's probably worth it. Just throwing yourself into the players instead, but it seems like, no, they're going to die to the spike anyway. Maybe just going off more of the normal in terms of just dying to the spike.
I mean, maybe it's Leo that gets 2 kills, right? And then he's closer.
Maybe.
It's one of those things. It's a decision, it's a risk, and they don't want to roll the dice this time. Respectable still. But Fnatic certainly looking strong to start this one off. And the key thing here, Tom, is that without those 2 players dying to a player, without them falling at someone else's hands, there's no ultimates online starting out this round. Plenty on offer, but pretty difficult for Foot to get access to any of these in the early round.
But that's the thing that also makes this map quite a bit more attack-sided, is a lot of the orbs are very, very difficult to fight for if you're on the defense. By the looks of it, though, they might be about to go for one. 3 players set up outside of this B site early on in the round. They are pushing forward off the back, off this screen. Setting up, well, they've been spotted. A showstopper here might just end the round in his tracks.
They know exactly who spotted them as well, but look, he's got enough support, and now they're boxing them in with the Odin. There's no retreat. Straight away at them through the box, and it's just disgusting. You see the idea, the intention there for Foot early round, but wow, that has backfired. And these 2 players from the last round are left to try and recover. Chronicle, why have you dropped it? Are you running low on ammo already? Come on. He actually probably is. I think he might be running down to like his last 70, 80. But either way, Maj last man alive, 1 versus 2. 50 seconds left. They're probably making the right call by just pumping the brakes. Eventually, they've got to gamble, and they're moving in the right direction.
That's the thing. They've got the turret down there, so they know that no one has peeked further than this. But he can hear it, so he knows they're still in this area. If it went offline, that could be a problem. Instead, looking to clear them. He's going to take the round. It looked from the beginning like that was going Fnatic's way. They shut down the initial push. They read things almost to perfection. But I think he literally was just going, okay, this turret is online. They can't have gone B. They can't have gone C. If I hear it go off, then I move. And until that point, they actually walked back into him.
Would have won that with the Odin Chronicle, that's all I'm saying. But you look, for Foot, that's a round that definitely buys them back into things. They were up against a bunch of ultimates. Fnatic decided not to burn them up there, not to use them. And, well, I don't think we'll have the same situation to start out this round. Already a Viper's Pit used up by Adacaptain as he defends B, locking down a ton of control. I mean, that side is, it's not off limits because you can still take a main control, which they have, break that door, and you're right on into the B side. In fact, you're putting a ton of pressure on Adacaptain then. And with 3 players on the C side, I mean, obviously they're rotating, and their rotations are extremely quick with Kiwi. But this starter round was extremely scary. If you're that A defender, I mean, Maj could not afford to go down, but now he's got support to fight and hold on to the site.
Lockdown on either side.
Lockdown already?
Yeah, they've used it quite early into the round. I think Fnatic will be quite happy to sort of bait that one out. They don't necessarily have to reset into a B play, and even if they do, they have a lockdown that will completely clear Adacaptain. Now Kiwi goes swinging, and he's lost to Alpha here once again. And now the showstopper, 2 players somewhat stuck at the back of the site. They're taking so much damage on the way back through. This take has looked so easy for Fnatic. Just 2 remain. And Adacaptain in his Viper's Pit is gone.
They heard Mr. Fallen. I think he's heard Boaster as well, but with that realizing he's not sneaking up behind them, the door's open, so there's at least one more guy around here. Yeah, worth just going somewhere else to save this one. A tough pill to swallow for FUT in that round. I think they had the read, they had the rotations, they burned up ultimates as well, and that's the real kicker. That's 0 damage. You're right. You're right. 25 and 25 shields. Chronicle and Durka started with that. Everybody else sitting pretty on 50. That's extremely rough, man.
It's bitter. You used 2 ults.
Viper's Pit and Lockdown.
Yeah.
And okay, you know, Durka used his Showstopper.
Cool.
So
that's a nice ult.
That's good. We got rid of that. That genuinely could change a round coming up, but they've got a few others to fall back on and a solid strategy that's been working so far.
It's funny as well because they had, what, 3 players on the A side? So to not do any damage in that push through, and I think a lot of it was great utility usage, like backside was just getting wrecked with different util. There was a Showstopper thrown in, there was a Seize thrown in. Kiwi peeking just gets owned instantly the second he tries to take a battle, and the remaining 2 players are just being bombarded by the rest of the utility, because the thing is, with using a Viper's Pit on one side of the map, and then basically playing passive for the lockdown on the other, basically Fnatic didn't have to use most of their utility like they were before to clear all of these angles, because they took them just at the beginning of the round, so made things a lot easier for them. Now, as said, FUT, in the 5 games that they played, I think the only difference would be against RRQ, where they kind of just smashed them on the defense, so they didn't have to play attack. Every other time they have been much better on the attacking side. That's where they have dominated, and I think in some cases even being like 8-1. So the main thing for them here, getting to sort of like 5 rounds. 4 might be minimal. It might even be a point where, okay, I still expect Fnatic to be better than a lot of the opposition they played before. But if they can at least get themselves a foothold in this half, there is a chance. The problem is, the way Fnatic are playing right now, that is looking more and more difficult.
Well, one of the big problems that they're having, and I think they'll look to solve, is just that A main hold. So consistently, we'll see attacking teams take control of that, but Fnatic, more than anyone else, have been running this through the connector into the B site and causing problems. An example we said was if Captain had have been crunched like that, his Viper's Pit would all of a sudden become not a disadvantage, but he would have to retreat into it facing his back to the attackers. Now here, we see that early attempt at A main control, and this time, they will get away with it. 2 players pushed up, control gained, nobody spotted on the other side, bar a small amount of utility. Viper wall again from the attackers, from Fnatic in the same position. Same can be said for FUT, without a captain, having this to play off of, but most importantly, he is one of the players with a rifle. The man behind him, Krax, who's had a rough game so far, but a great series, or at least a good map previously, also has a rifle to work with. So this retake still packs quite a punch.
Yeah, the problem is it's still just going to be this post plant from Fnatic, which is not going to get any easier. Seize to make sure that no one can get in quickly. Nice snake bite. Will at least delay them a moment.
He's going in. He's just decided to send it. Had a captain's got one, but that's the rifle on the floor now. He's gone. Nightfall thrown in. Kills going Fnatic's way across the board. You'd expect it in a round like this, but you'd hope to see something else. For the fans of FUT out there, this has been a tough start to the game. And it looks like Fnatic are set to push up to 6.
Do you want to know something interesting?
Sure.
I'm pretty sure Leo just got his first kill.
No. Surely not.
I think he's 1.
I even spotted Krax was on 1. There's no way Leo.
I think he's 1 and 2.
You might be right. I'm sort of thinking
he's just not had to do anything.
Not been fighting. He's been putting prowlers out. He's been popping reveals, but
I could maybe the scoreboard has bamboozled me, but I'm pretty sure at the beginning of this round,
I'm trying to
Leo
think of the kill
was,
that he got,
was
and
0 and 2.
I don't think I've said his name once so far. Actually, I think you're right.
That is very, very odd. But it almost just shows how in a lot of the rounds that Fnatic have played, they've been very, very dominant in the manner in which they've won it. And
well, what did they say? What did they say in the video? They said Leo's the kind of guy, like he'll do his role, he'll be supportive, he is the initiator for the team, but when you need him, he will have impact from non-impact roles. And yeah, so far, you're right, he hasn't been needed.
Well, they got himself a kill in this round at least. And again, I don't even know if that one was necessary. 6 and 2, this attack looking ever stronger, and Kiwi just being forced back to hold on to things. Fnatic again, just doing a great job to almost get into afterplants. Avoiding, I would say, normal. Yeah, avoiding normal fights. Like, all they're really doing is, okay, at a captain, they had to take a fight because he ran into the site on his own. Yeah. Other than that, you look at this, them getting into an afterplant here, Did we just get a double replay of Leo's first kill?
That's just
is that
cruel.
what we're doing now?
That's just cruel. At least they didn't do that for Cracks.
Yeah, that would have been slightly
Let's get a replay, all 8 deaths.
Let's not do that.
Let's not do that.
Let's absolutely not do that.
He's a player who had a ton of impact previously. There's a tag up and slowed down as well on Kiwi's a little late getting around that angle, but he'll still get around there in time. Mr. Fallen supporting as well. Stinger through the smoke. And that's all they needed. 2 kills very quickly. Commanding control of this round.
Well, that's the thing. The Odin definitely has a threat with the spam through the wall, but with the pace of which Kiwi managed to get across and the TP available for Mr. Fallen, they dodged most of the damage that can commit and just went for the fights, stunned up Durka, who was out in the open, the one actually claiming the space, and also killed off the player to trade. This is something I wanted to see Liquid do more regularly and actually try and hold on to this control. They've punished Fnatic for their initial setup. Can they hold on to the round?
That is cruel, Mel. I don't know why you'd show me that. The Odin left
on the floor
behind
where it belongs.
Wow. Well, we'll have a word about that after this game. Have left behind a high-value weapon. Let's hope FUT don't get control of that. Then things could get
definitely.
It could get scary if they pick that up. On the way towards the C site, good setup. Killjoy turret. They've even got a nano swarm up close, and Killjoy not even on the site, playing towards B, spotting it out and just on the edge of the turret radius. This is a effective 3-man stack with the utility that you've got here to support. The pull, Gravwell causing some issues here, but leaving Cracks alone is no problem whatsoever. Picking up both of those fights, and then Captain was right back into the duel. Very well handled by FUT, and this is actually one of the rounds I was thinking earlier. We've seen them try and be so proactive. The A pushes, I think, have been the problem. The fact that they haven't got A main control, they're left to push elsewhere on the map to make up for it. But now that they have that, they're able to sit back and let Fnatic push into them, and they set the trap perfectly.
The thing is, though, again, this is something that Fnatic, I won't say have to adapt to because they already have in the past. A lot of what they were doing versus Liquid was going for these late reclaims of rubble, using their utility when most of that initial util was gone. And that's exactly what they're doing here. Nobody, okay, I was gonna say no one pushing. Alpha just goes through the smoke with an op and just says, you know what? Normally we'd sit passive and wait and reclaim the control with our util. Instead, I'm going to peek through a smoke with an operator and kill you instead.
Oh, Chronicle, he's holding that smoke as well. With Odin far back, Leo picking up the C push. This is more of what they were looking for. There's the spray coming through from Chronicle. They're catching the A push. The response from FUT is to push C. They're catching the C push. The response from FUT is to push A. They catch the A push. Guess what the response is? It's to push C. And now they're going to try catch that by going behind them, apparently. Ton of control, wall bangs being thrown through as well. Chronicle, you're really stealing my heart here, man. I want a Chronicle cam right now. Durka's caught trying to flank. It's not really a chance yet. They need so much more, and with Boaster locking down their spawn, feels all but done here for Cracks. The man was looked to for so many high-impact rounds in the previous map, and indeed in the history of FUT so far, but the reality is he is not going to double up his kills here in a 1v4 time limited.
No.
In fact, isn't going to even get one.
No, and this is exactly what I was saying. Like, Fnatic don't need to work on fixing this as a problem because they already have. They've done it before, they've faced off against a very similar comp, and the problem with a Neon on defense is it is very one-dimensional. You have to try and fight for this control, and well, the smoke actually goes up just a second after, but even still, just filthy stuff from them, just basically waiting for FUT to attempt the same thing again, and it's just a domino effect. The second they lose that first man, everyone else is just pushing, and it becomes incredibly easy for them. 7-3. We'll see if it's going to be the same case. They've thrown out similar util. They've put in exactly what they did in the prior rounds, but it's all a ruse from FUT. It's an attempt to maybe bait them into wasting utility on this control, and instead, after the initial spam, Mr. Fallen's just walked up.
This must be what Valorant's like for my teammates.
Is he going to try and wallbang him with a Guardian?
No.
I think he did.
He probably did attempt to, and look, he did. Yeah, 80 and 10. He's backed off now. They traded a few blows.
I don't like that as a plan, though. He's wallbanging with an Odin. I'm going to try and kill him with a Guardian. But yeah, the thing is, even if you succeed, he's had another player sitting there most rounds that will just trade it.
Yeah, that's more the issue. You're caught. I mean, the Guardian reset time is at least pretty decent. I think it's better than running dead into the angle, but now the thing again is we come back to, right, I said FUT have had a problem a few rounds ago because they didn't have a main control, and now you move back to they don't have A main control. So the problem in these rounds has been their A hold has not been up to par. Once Fnatic have made it past this part of the map, where they are right now, the rounds have gone their way time and time again. But they've broken this wall and tried to fight through. There's the adaptation, but Maj only good for one, and the B side under threat again. This time with a lurk left behind.
Yeah, Viper's Pit. Chronicles unfortunately had to drop the Odin again, and Nightfall actually not going to catch. At least gives a little bit of extra space. We've seen a pop of the null command on the other side.
Ratty Boaster
still just waiting, leaving this lurk behind. They've also got players outside of B, making it difficult. Oh, he might get caught by his own weapon. The spam is going to get rid of it. That's the Viper's Pit gone.
I told you better be careful they don't pick that up. Problems start to follow. Now listen, they're not defusing, but, well, they should realize it at this point at least. Shorty out, back around the corner. Here's the fight from Boaster, the off angle. Oh, so close. Damage done, but the range a little much. And FUT will be able to walk out of this with 4. I told you, Tom, the second they pick up that Odin, it's a game changer. Roll back a few rounds.
He should have dropped it in the pit.
Look, I saw a round where Chronicle had the Odin. He dropped it. We saw it on the floor as they walked away. They lost that round. Then they play with it. They win the round. This time they drop it. FUT pick it up. Who wins? I don't know. I'm not trying to do math here. I'm trying to pull out the transitive property, but it's certainly starting to seem.
I can't wait for the day where you betray the Odin just like you betrayed Enzo.
All right, you watch your goddamn mouth. You watch your goddamn mouth, all right?
I'm just going off the footage, man. Oh, see you cracked. See you later.
That's what I'm talking about, baby. Quick kill on A. C push attempted yet again, and they've caught this time and time again. But now Kiwi's got the operator to try and fight back.
Okay.
Nice shot by Mr. Fallen. Finally, a solution is found to that Odin. The numbers are even back up.
It's a massive risk, but it worked. Shutting him down. Ult-wise, actually not a lot online for either side, so there's not going to be that same sort of saving grace of a Viper's Pit that they can throw in. Again, though, with a minute left on the clock, they're going to start to reclaim this A control. It's something that FUT can't hold on to. Have had to fall back more passively. They've got a couple of players waiting, at least nearby. Nanoswarm and a nade just to force the player completely out of position. It's not going to be claimed, though, by Fnatic, and this means Moj can go right back.
Yeah, but they're faking this out. They're looking for Moj to go back. They're looking for somebody to make a push, and most importantly, they want the rotations. Durka's going up close for that fight. He needed it. They're going to realize very quickly that this is not a play towards the A site. Where is the rest of the presence? Where is the rest of the push? Maybe they're just about to make their way through the tree, but now the timer's starting to tick down. They're realizing something's not right. The C site's under threat. The plant is coming in, and look at this, the angle we get as we see Moj and Kiwi make their way around shows us Boaster trying to cut them off. Sat in a corner waiting. These shots need to land. They're not checking it. It's such an uncouth position. Boaster's got 2. That might just be the round.
I think he was expecting get 1 kill, smoke himself out, retreat, but instead he's been able to hold on to the angle. A huge double coming out from the IGL, and now Adacaptain needs one back, but Boaster's taking control. It's left all on to Mr. Fallen. 1 versus 3, time is ticking the prowl. Okay, it might not clear him, but even still, it's wasting his time. This round is done, and an execution of Alpha will close out the half.
8 rounds from Fnatic. A solid attack pulled out from them. Now, like you said, Tom, FUT, they should look a little better swapping over to this next half, and we'll see it time and time again where teams move to that attack side. They get to set the pace, but on Lotus, I think it's worse than Fracture, actually, for being on that attack side. You don't get to set the pace in quite the same way, and it's mainly because of those A main fights. Thing I'll say, a lot less likely to see Chronicle controlling A main with an Odin in this one. They're going to have a different solution, but then I just look to Durka and Leo, the good old Snade combination, and it's done so much for them in the past in just keeping teams out of A main. And once they get that control, it's hard to wrestle that back out of Fnatic's hands.
Yeah, and the thing is, as we saw from the lovely little heat maps that we were shown prior, they do like to go for these fairly pacey takes in the early stages of the round, like desperately just running their way in towards that C site is something we're going to see regularly, but also something that Fnatic should be ready for. And that's the thing. of all the teams that we have in this tournament, a lot of the time you don't have a lot of tape, even going deeper into the weeks. The problem is we have seen FUT play this map many a time. As I said, they played this 5 times. I think the comp was the same all 5 times. So Fnatic know exactly what they're running into with this attacker side, and with how well they've already done on the attack themselves, even a pistol round here could start to lead this one to the finish. So I don't think this is going to be an easy road for FUT, don't get me wrong. Fnatic have still looked solid on this map, but if they can get themselves the pistol, I think this could be competitive.
I mean, coming into today, we still had Boaster leading the clutch stats, and I don't think he's been in too many of them, so we might still...
He was like 5 out of 8, I think. It was just ridiculous.
But that was actually, you know, it's funny you say that, because the week before I tweeted it out, it was the exact same. It was still 5 for 8. It's just they're not in clutch situations.
Well, he also hasn't played.
He played as well. Of course, last week they had a little bit of a hiccup, I suppose. But often, if you look at the amount of clutches when you go through that percentage, everybody else like doubles or triples up in numbers. But
a lot of people
just because of dominant
like
games, you're not
30, 40 clutches.
Exactly, yeah. At the same time, though, you can't take it away from him. He's leading the clutches, the biggest clutch player in the league, and sitting 12-5 right now. Having a pretty good game, considering last game it looked a little bit like FUT had it out for him. They were, where's Boaster? Let's go there. Now I think they might have a little bit of a different mantra.
But they were still trying to find out where he was, because he was in spawn every round. Like, the majority of the Fnatic players were there, so they did go looking for a fight. I think this time, I think they're going to be happy to try and dictate that pace a little bit, and by the looks of it, it is going to be another blitz round for the side of FUT. They are walking their way straight towards this B site.
Fnatic are waiting for it. And they haven't burned up any of their utility early on. Still having a nade up on Durka. They push through. They're going into the spawn. What's Boaster going to do on the back of this? That wall is going to grab well to fight with, and that's cracks down. They fall back. They reset with the advantage. No, Boaster continues, taking down Ada Captain as well. There goes your Viper wall. And Kiwi, he's about to be spotted out, but Chronicle won't win that fight. Maybe that can bring them back.
The HP, though. Kiwi on 10, Mr. Fallen 47. Alpha just trying to clear these angles out. Mr. Fallen lurking behind. It's a big fight, and Alpha's managed to take it, leaving the players isolated. Okay, Alpha almost going down to Timmy. He's had a lot of kills so far, but Boaster's got that one. And now Kiwi with no hope. Low HP, cleared by Durka. Now, we've seen a few teams begin to force up when it comes to this attack side of Lotus. The hits into the C site can work out wonderfully. I question with the deficit from FUT if they might go for something similar.
It's a big risk, I think, at this point if they decide to throw the credits at the round, but that pistol going Fnatic's way, it could make you desperate. Boaster with a triple kill as well. We already talked about how incredible he's been so far on this map, now sitting on a 3 KD as well. That's a different face to him. You have to say, doing it with the frenzy as well. Now move into this round, you don't get an investment out of FUT. Very, very low investment from them. Just a few pistols that they buy up into. And most importantly, it's only one player coming in with any form of shields. Alpha essentially has an op here. There's the shields removed. And from here on out, he is going to take them all down with just one shot, building up those orbs.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm actually very surprised Mr. Fallen manages to get 2 there. Respect to him for at least being able to do a little bit of damage, but this is it. For FUT, if they're going to stand a chance in this series, obviously for Fnatic, they're one of the teams running away with it at the top of the board. Even with sort of a weak deficit, they still sit in first. Every other team having a slip up at a point, but they are 4-0 right now. FUT, on the other hand, 3-2. I think we were kind of surprised with some of the results that came up over the last week. They got bullied by Giants, losing to Team Liquid as well. A loss to Fnatic wouldn't be a surprise, but it would put them back into that sort of danger zone of teams that could be slipping out of playoffs.
Quick push down through C main, and it's going to be trades to start it off. Kiwi, he's still fighting on this one. Player up close on him, that could be dangerous, but Leo's traded out immediately. The extra man of Maj being there helps out. Chronicle now having to clutch it all by himself, Bulldog in hand, but Krax is quick to take him down. That was a pacey round out of Fnatic, and it did not pay off.
Yeah, even still, I think like Leo may have only had a pistol in that one. They did play that as
bonus,
a slight more of a bonus. They had 3 rifles though to play with still. However, now is where we should get the proper investment coming through for them. It's unlikely to be a round of similar pace, and oh, Mitch is going to be happy.
I love to see it. Boaster's still got 3 seconds to break my heart. And he hasn't done it.
3 seconds is all it takes.
What a guy. Well, that's certainly not the angle I expect to see the Odin on, unless he's actually going for the wall bang through to B main, which is just ridiculous if he's solo holding that and doing it, but I'm here for every second of it. Forced back, though, by the presence
He's
spotted.
going for plant denial.
And that's it. It's what we saw from Nats earlier on, whether it's Nats' idea. I know a lot of players have been ripping stuff off of the Fnatic scrims. Playing that Odin backside and then spamming through the wall. There is 0 places that you can plant that he cannot punish you. Even if you go up where the Killjoy turret is, pop a smoke, get inside, spray it through. And getting there is the main issue. And they've made the choice. They just go the other way. Where's Boaster? Go the other side.
But that's the thing, it's looking like a bit of a ruse at the moment. That initial pressure, you've still got the hold in case they try and push in towards the spawn, and then, well, I'm about to say a thing I've never said before. The only man they have to deal with is Durka.
Well, that was true about 1 second ago, but now there's 3 players coming into position, ready to support Durka from up above, or watching on the cross, actually, as he makes noise on the fall back. It's not pretty to begin with, barely missing each other past the smoke. A few tags, all we can hope for in that early engagement. And Kiwi's making a decision now on whether to continue that aggression. You can see falling back to his teammates. 4 players can confidently take a swing on that angle. This could be extremely dangerous for any of those Fnatic players up in heaven. Boaster! No. So much damage done! He's taking down Captain. No more Viper Wall, no more utility, and this is a disaster! In just seconds, they have lost the sight and lost it all!
The nano didn't even
Fnatic
reach.
looking unbelievable. Yeah, you're right, the nano was a little shallow, allowing it to be diffused all the way,
It
really.
didn't matter anyway.
But then they reallocated over to Alpha, lockdown online, Cosmic Divide, and the Odin thriving.
Yeah, it's not like it would have made a difference. They had, what, 6.5 seconds left? I don't think that nano swarm would have stopped them anyway, but
true.
It's still just one of those things that we might have to watch out for. That was a 5v5 retake, and they don't get a kill. Like, that's not something you want to be seeing if you want to believe in FUT being able to turn this around, just losing every single battle. And
that's why I like
Boaster.
That's the discipline. It wasn't yesterday, it was today.
Oh, that's it. You got to fix it.
I want to know
what
happened yesterday.
Who
What was
were you
going on
scrimming?
yesterday?
Who were you scrimming? Let us know. Wow,
Oh,
Durka
dear.
immediately. They didn't even need the snade, and then the nade goes through, pushes them further back. They have to burn up
was one of
Mr.
their
Ball.
only
No, they
rifles.
didn't know. They didn't know he was that far up already, I guess.
Yeah, they wanted to try and get. They had 2 rifles in this round, and
look
one
who
of
they're
them's
pushing.
already gone.
Look who they're pushing. The man with the big gun here. Oh, he's made a misread, and Maj is punished.
That's more like when I see you play.
All right,
Odin.
Tom, relax yourself.
Either way, he must have got that one out of your strap, but maybe someone was
Everyone makes
watching
mistakes,
your
Tom.
scrims.
Everyone makes mistakes. Lockdown in play. Okay, Alpha, that's a brave
Oh,
idea.
no. Oh,
They swung
okay.
out the challenge. And they have lost that fight. Fnatic up to 12.
I think that's his spot. Like, we saw a clutch from him not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago in the 1v3. I don't think you want to be peeking Alpha on that angle. And 12-2-5. Bear in mind, this is a map that FUT within this season have won 3 times. 13-4, 13-10, 13-9. All strong attack sides. They are being destroyed. 12-5. A similar scoreline to what we saw in the previous map. Durka now just taking that control almost for free. They manage, what, a couple of kills. Sure, it was a round where they didn't have much to play with, but they're not going to have much more to play with in this round. They invested a lot in that last one. I'm currently looking over at 4 Spectres and a Bulldog as your lifeline round.
They've got a ton of ultimates. Alpha, yeah, right now, 16-8. Echoing on his performance from the previous map where he was just unstoppable, and now look at him go! He's not made it out.
Okay.
Not this time. There's the punish at least. And here we go. Kiwi speeding in. This is going to be a challenge for Boaster to defend against. He's got his Odin down below. Those wall bangs will have to be sublime. No reveals or anything to work with on the way through, and the spam doesn't land to start with. So a reset for a retake, and the all picked up manages to delete Durka.
Kiwi just trying to get out of there. Trying to make sure they can sit for this post plant. They've left Captain behind. A kill would get him Viper's Pit, but I don't think they're going to want to use it here. Instead, he's looking to try and make the push up close in their face. dodging everything in front of him, but not for long. Evening things up once again.
Oh.
Spam through, doing a fair amount of damage on either side. And Leo's now picked off another. Back down to Kiwi to try and save them here. Nightfall going to be thrown through. Shot landed. The question is on that timer. But it seems to be that he's going to have this one. Closing it out just about 0.81 seconds, and Fnatic have got it done. A swift 2-0, a quick start to the day, and another representation of why Fnatic are the best of the best.
13-5s, man. I mean, you'll say this about them, they are consistent. And just look at some of those plays coming out towards the end. I mean, you could tell Alpha was fired up. He was ready to go, and when we have regional matchups, we talk about it all the time. Right here, he's standing against an entire stage of his countrymen, and well, he brought the fight to them today.
Yeah.
We had the question of whether that pressure would breed into some kind of mercy. No. If anything, he was even harsher than normal.
It almost felt like one of those scenarios where it's like, yeah, people talk about Turkish players. I want you Chronicle low on HP again, trying to get up in their face. He's already found one. A third kill in this round already. Boaster sat back watching the flank, but Chronicle's just gonna do it all! 5 kills, an ace to close it. And after FUT had such a strong start in this map,